must win tonight for the Lakers.
Rui Hachimura and Luke Kennard. Where will the Lakers be without that duo?
Turnovers starting to mount for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Gilgeous-Alexander starting to catch fire here in the third.
Your playoff life is on the floor. This is abject frustration.
LeBron James doesn't have it going tonight. Reeves doesn't have it going. They find themselves in an 0-3 home.
Let's bring in our NBA reporter, Dave McMenamin, who is covering the Lakers. Dave, tonight could potentially be LeBron's final game of the season and his final game in purple and gold, set to become an unrestricted free agent. What can you share about LeBron's future?
Jay, I asked LeBron after Game 3, when you're facing an elimination game coming up, is there any acknowledgement from you and your teammates that this could be the last time this group has a chance to play with one another? They said, nope, we don't talk about it. We focus at the task at hand, which is obviously trying to extend this series by getting one win. Now, speaking to sources close to LeBron James all season long, they have insisted to me that LeBron has not figured out what he wants to do beyond this season. It starts with whether he wants to play, period. I would say that all the clues, basically from the All-Star game onward, is that he will continue to play NBA basketball. But will it be in Los Angeles? Tim Bontemps and I wrote a story about 6 weeks ago laying out all the options. There's 5 or 6 teams you could viably see him going to next year. The Lakers, if they are swept here, will have to convince LeBron, I would say, on some level, that we have a plan in place here for you to come back and compete for a championship. Because Shams Charania had Rich Paul tell him last June when LeBron opted in that at this stage of his career, that is the number one thing that is guiding his decisions, being able to compete for a championship in whatever time is left of his career.
LeBron's 8 years as a Laker, by the way, the longest continuous stretch with any one team. Go back to what you were just saying. Dig into what conversations you think could happen internally if after a possible, what looks like it's going to be an early playoff exit for LeBron and the Lakers.
Well, they're going to have to figure out what this roster looks like, right? If they are losing to the defending champs, a team that is so deep that they can have A.J. Mitchell fill in for Jalen Williams, who was an all-star this year, and not skip a beat in the conference semifinals, when you can have Jared McCain one game coming off the bench, Isaiah Joe another game coming off the bench being the difference maker, when you can have Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein punishing you on the inside while the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is actually having a subpar series, but it doesn't matter. You're still winning by 20 points a game. That tells you that you are more than just missing Luka Doncic away from competing with them. And so even if you figure out a way to re-sign LeBron and re-sign Austin Reeves, you got to work on the depth of this roster. And I think the conversations that need to be had is, what will we be able to piece together, whether it be through trade with some of these first-round picks that we have available to us, or whether it be through the draft, or even talent development, guys like Adu Thiero and Bronny James, getting them better over the summer to help us have a deeper bench to compete in a playoff series. And if you're going to want LeBron to take a pay cut, you got to tell him why. We want you to take X so we can go get Y with that amount of dollars. That is going to be the conversations going on.
Lots to discuss. Dave McMenamin, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Well, LeBron has faced his fair share of elimination games, going 15-14 in them in his career. His last 6, however, his teams have gone 1-5, even with LeBron averaging 25 points and nearly 7 boards in those games. Our NBA analyst and LeBron's former teammate, Kendrick Perkins, back with us. All right, Perk, LeBron and the Lakers enter tonight as underdogs for the 4th straight time this series. How do they keep their season alive for at least one more game? And you laughing already.
Well, I mean, because as expected, they came into this game as the underdogs.
Yeah.
I mean, because, look, they just don't have enough. But I'm looking at one guy in particular, and that's Austin Reeves. He is auditioning, in my opinion. And what happened last game was that they were searching him out defensively and picking on him. He has not had an Austin Reeves-type moment to show the Lakers that, hey, our future is extremely bright if we build around you and Luka Doncic. And so if I'm Austin Reeves, look, I want him to get paid, but we know in a market like LA, it's all about championships and nothing else, no in between. And so when I'm looking at what he's displaying, offensively, he's crying, he's having trouble with OKC athleticism, and I want Austin Reeves to do well, but damn it, what he's been displaying throughout the course of this postseason, if I'm the Lakers, I got to rethink things and say, hey, man, is this really a guy that I'm going to invest max money into to play alongside Luka that's going to take me to the promised land? My answer is no.
He did have a career-high 9 assists, but he turned the ball over 5 times. That wasn't good. So, yeah, he's got to show something.
So he had 4 assists.
Yeah, so yeah. I see what you did there. My man doing math. Kendrick Perkins. Thank you, brother.
Enough, but for the first time in 8 years, the team with the NBA's worst record actually won the lottery. And under the current format, which gives the 3 worst teams an equal chance to win it, the Wizards are the first since that change to actually be the cellar dwellers and get a top pick. The Utah Jazz picked up the 2nd pick, followed by the Grizzlies with 3rd. The Bulls pick 4th. And with the lottery now set, the focus turns to the Combine. Over 70 NBA hopefuls are in Chicago as we speak, working out, scrimmaging, meeting with teams, all preparing for the draft, which starts on June 23rd, as we welcome in our front office insider, Bobby Marks. So what are some of the things that these teams, especially with this top pick and this uber talented draft, like give us a team like Washington, what are they looking to accomplish this week?
Well, I think you're casting a wide net. I think certainly you have the number 1 pick, and you're probably debating between A.J. DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. But I think you're also looking at what else is out there in this draft. As you said, this is a deep draft. I even equated it to the 1996 draft, which produced Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant here. So I think for Washington, you're meeting as many prospects in the next week here. You're meeting with them in interviews. We're watching the skills and agility competition tomorrow afternoon. 5-on-5 is Wednesday and Thursday, but it's a jam-packed week here. And yes, they do have the number 1 pick here, but I do think you just can't you stop business as far as just because you're picking there. I think you do have to cast that wide net among all these different prospects.
Yeah, I mean, they said, I heard their GM say they're going to start interviewing players tomorrow, and you personally have been preparing dozens of these players for these interviews. So take us through that process. Like, what kind of questions do you ask them to prep them to talk to teams?
Yeah, it's probably one of the best experiences I go through over the course of the year. I've met over with 70 prospects in the last 3 weeks. I call it speed dating because we're basically going 30 to 45 minutes as far as trying to get their personality out here. But I think questions like, Hannah, if you had the ability to play 3-on-3 and you couldn't pick 2 NBA teammates, who would you pick? What players would you pick? Or if you did play 3-on-3, what NBA players would you pick? Hannah, it would be remarkable to know that every player picked Victor Wembanyama in that exercise here, to the point where I had to ban him from the 3-on-3 question here. But just questions like that. How have you changed as a person by the time you stepped on campus to right now? Just getting your personality out. Certainly we want to know about how your family has made an impact in your life here. But yeah, the interview part, I call it pizza pie. There's 8 slices to this draft process. The interview process is probably worth 2 slices to this here.
Okay, wait. Once you banned Wemby as a choice, who is your next most popular player?
Yes. You know what? I had actually a player mention Wilt. How about that? I said, what do you know about Wilt Chamberlain? You weren't even born when he was playing. I wasn't even born when he was playing here. But no, I think Jokic.
That's cool.
Jokic was the next. Jokic was the next popular player.
Interesting. Everybody wants to play with a good big man. All right. Obviously, you've been talking to a lot of folks because you're about to lose your voice. So we are going to let you go. Bobby Marks will be talking to you a lot in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.